Investival, India's most innovative retail investors online conference. This is Ashok Devanampriya, the CEO of Traders Gurukul and also the host for today's program. It's a great pleasure to invite every one of you to the first edition of this investor webinar series. As you all know, it was ideally supposed to be a residential event. Because of various technical constraints, we made it an online event. I look forward to host every one of you in the Traders Conclave in the month of October, friends. Uh, I am sure by the end of this program today, you will have a lot of knowledge which can help you to make good decisions as far as your investment skills are concerned. And today, the specialty is all about momentum investing. I would like to thank our media partner Money Control Pro, the largest financial portal in India with millions of readers on their website. I would also like to thank our title sponsor Golden Pie, which is backed by Zerodha. They enable investors to invest in bonds and debentures online, who they are a registered debt broker and also an OBPP platform. So the speaker for today is Miss Sonam Srivastava from Mumbai. She is the CEO and founder of Right Research. Right Research is a Mumbai-based quantitatively managed investment firm that offers portfolios for various level of investors' risk and return profiles, which are backed by strong quantitative and technological acumen. So Sonam, I think you're going to empower us with your special topic, momentum
Yes,
investing. On behalf of Traders Gurukul, Money Control Pro, Golden Pie, I extend my warm welcome into this program as a speaker. Go ahead, my friend. The stage is
definitely.
yours.
No, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Investival, for having me. And thanks a lot for letting me talk about momentum investing, which is one of my favorite topics to talk about. And I think, this is a topic that, all of us need to talk about in India, because momentum investing is something that works really well in India. If you're doing momentum in India, then you're doing something very exciting, right? So I think it's a very interesting topic, and I think the listeners might get a good brief on this topic through this session. And I hope you take something out, and you have a good time listening to me, and you go on and try to invest into a momentum investing strategy or work on it yourself after this session, right? So so this so I think my introduction has already been given. I sort of run Right Research, which is like a India-based investment advisor, where we only use data and algorithmic techniques to create our portfolios, right? So I never take a call on a stock, but we use quant to sort of make all those calls, right? And with Right Research, we have touched more than 40,000 people. We have more than 10,000 active investors with us, and very started from nothing with with an individual sort of a setup, to now we have grown to a 10 plus team that's managing more than 250 crores, and we've outperformed the index by 90% odd in the last 3 years. And a lot of that outperformance has actually come via the power of momentum. So why we have done well, the power of momentum actually has a huge role to play. So momentum investing strategy by Right Research is one of the most popular strategies out there. In small case, we have more than 7,500 people who actually readily subscribe to that particular strategy, and and that strategy has given a huge edge. And that's why we think that momentum is actually, because it's done so well in the real market with so many people, it's an amazing strategy for people to look at, right? So I'll be briefing you about the momentum strategy from the perspective of how we work on it at Right Research. And we have a lot of time, so maybe I'll spend an hour or so talking about the strategy, and then we can move on to the Q&A. I love to answer any audience questions, or anything you want me to explain in details. I'll be very, very happy to do that for you. So I've kept the session relatively comprehensive. I'll start by giving you an introduction of the type of investing that we do, which is something that we call factor investing. Then we'll move on to momentum investing, which is our topic of today. I'll talk about the types of momentum, the momentum indicators, how you can actually go on building a momentum strategy. Then we'll talk about the performance of a momentum strategy that we've been running over the last 2 3 years. What are the risk management, right? So it sounds interesting that we're investing in momentum, but eventually the risk is part of all market, right? Market will go up and down, and you will have to deal with it, right? So we'll talk about the risk management. What are the actual scenarios that you will see when if you were a momentum investor in the last few years, and how you should tackle it, right? It's a very interesting presentation. I think some of you might really enjoy it. So I'll get started. Yeah, so the first topic here that I have put is that all of us, when we are investing in the stock market, right, a very beginner sort of understanding that anybody has is that my portfolio or my strategy did really well, and that is because I picked, or the manager picked, or the fund manager picked the right stocks, right? They think that any equity portfolio return is explained only by what the manager is doing. But what the actual if you dig down a little bit into it, what you will see that uh, the manager obviously contributes a fair bit, but you can never beat the exposure of the market, right? The market will always have a role to play. If the market is very volatile, then any portfolio will have a tough time outperforming. Similarly, if the market is trending, then you will see any portfolio might get an edge because of that the market component, right? So the market component plays a very important role in understanding any stock or portfolio's return. But outside of the market, you can explain any stock's return by a number of other factors, right? And these factors are something that all of us understand, right? Like when I say that when I say momentum investing, what that means is that I'm investing into trending stocks. Similarly, when I say that I'm investing into quality, what that means is that I'm picking stocks that have a high quality. Similarly, for growth, we are trying to pick up stocks that have a high growth number, right? And so on and so forth, right? There are various ways in which you can break down any stocks return into these number of factors, right? And these are all something that we all understand, right? We all, whenever we look at any particular stock, this is what comes into our mind, right? Like, does it have a trend? Are people buying it? What is the quality of its management, or what is the quality of its balance sheet? We look at what is the growth number in the previous quarter that the company showed, how much is the earning growing, or what is the scenario looking out in that particular industry, and then we look at the valuation, right? So this is all quite understandable, and you can break down any particular stock or portfolio return into these number of factors. And that is what you know the philosophy that we follow is that instead of saying this is a stock that worked because I picked it, we say that this is a stock, and why it worked is because this particular stock had a exposure to momentum, or had a exposure to quality, and I was smart enough to pick momentum at give this point in time. That's why this is a good bet that I made. So understanding why a particular stock is, or investment is working, is what we call factor investing. And this is where momentum will come into the picture, right? But before we go into momentum investing, we have a lot of time, so why not look at what are the other factors that people look at, right? So momentum is, like we'll see in the next parts of the presentation, that momentum is in fact one of the best performing factors in the India market, right? If you look at the India market, momentum seems to be, the best performing one. But apart from it, you have, something called volatility, right? So some people only invest into stocks that have low volatility, and then they see some sort of a outperformance over the market. Similarly, certain people only invest into stocks that have a very high dividend yield, right? And that tends to be a very good strategy when the markets are volatile, right? I'm getting a regular dividend out of the stock. The people who look at quality, right? So when you look at coffee can investing, and a lot of these managers who are quite popular in the India market, they're talking about high quality stocks. They're talking about stocks that have good earning, quality. They're talking about stocks that have a good investment quality, etc. That's quality investing. Momentum investing is something that we'll cover in depth in the next few in the next section. Then you have value investing, right? Value investing means that picking stocks that have low value. Size investing means that picking stocks that are smaller, right? So any stock that is smaller, If you see a FPI investment come into that stock, it will grow at a very very fast pace because its base is itself very small, right? So picking stocks of smaller size, which you all know in India, is very interesting. Similarly, picking stocks that have a high growth potential, right, who are giving very consistent growth numbers in the earnings, is a very good idea. And then sometimes stocks that are very illiquid sometimes tend to outperform because of their liquidity premium. So these are the number of factors that people popularly look at, and among them, momentum is one factor that we are going to talk about in the current session. And all these factors, if you look at the long-term performance of the index, these all factors have outperformed the index in the long term, right? So understanding and knowing all these factors is a very very smart thing to do, right? So why not explore this? If you want to extract good return from the market, then it makes sense for us to understand what are the drivers of good returns in the market, right? Now, what I am going to talk to you about is a data-driven process, right? And obviously, you can do momentum investing without a system also, right? You can rely on charts, or you can rely on a number of other things while doing momentum investing. But what we do is that, we work in a data-driven process. We pick up data, right? Let's say indicator, right? So momentum will have a particular number associated with a stock. We take that as an input. It goes into an engine which is trying to maximize the portfolio's return, reduce the risk, and that is giving us a optimal portfolio. So this is sort of a process that we follow. But I'll explain to you a momentum strategy that can be relatively simple, and that can be perfect for a beginner to also start with, right? So now let's move on to why we are talking about momentum today, right? Why should you be excited about momentum, and why am I extremely excited about momentum? The reason is that momentum is actually the strongest factor in the India market, right? If you look at the history of Indian market, if you look at the history of the various factors in the India market, you will see that momentum actually has outperformed all of the markets, all of the factors by a wide margin in the last, almost 10 years, right? So here you have a chart of almost 10 years. You will see a momentum investing strategy in India would have given a compounded growth rate of more than 30%, whereas Nifty at that same time would have given you a much lower, let's say a 15 odd percent ka return. That's why momentum, if you can follow along that strategy, can be a very exciting strategy for you to compound your wealth in the long term. So if you look at this chart, it is a 10-year chart almost, right? So if everybody started at the same time, the momentum investor sort of reached 10x, right? They went 10x, whereas some of the other strategies that were slow to grow only went 3x, 4x, and 5x, right? So momentum investing is a very exciting strategy if you can implement it well. Now, obviously, there are risks associated with momentum. You can see that there are instances when momentum, in this chart also, you can see that there is a drawdown which is quite sharp that momentum might have seen, and that is part of the process. But the power of momentum comes when we have these consistent phases of strong market growth, right, or what we call bull market, right? So India has gone through some very very strong bull markets during this whole session that we are looking at, right? And that's why in bull markets, momentum stocks tend to beat the market by a wide margin, and they build up that outperformance, right? And obviously, if you are investing into a momentum stock or a trending stock, then what would happen is that when the market crashes, then you will see that, oh, momentum may I had picked overvalued stocks because they were giving very good return, and now that the market has crashed, nobody likes values, overvalued stock. Everybody is dumping overvalued stocks, right? So you could see a momentum portfolio, see a sharp drawdown when the market's correct. But if you combine that with very good risk management, you're managing your risk well, you have put strong risk controls, then you can also manage those drawdowns. So we'll talk about that as well, and how you can build a stronger portfolio by including strong risk management in your momentum investing journey. Now let's talk about the simple definition that people give momentum investing, right? So momentum investing is defined as predictive power of past returns in influencing future returns. What that means is like you see this particular picture here, right? You have these balls, and once ball gains momentum, it will make the other balls also go up. And once it comes back, once it the previous history has sort of picked momentum, it tends to strong performance in the future, right? That's what momentum in terms of the physics definition, and in terms of the meaning of the word momentum means, right? It looks very simple, right? It looks very simple. It's just like picking any stock that has done well, right? And it seems slightly counterintuitive, right? Because everybody has been telling us, all the analysts and all the fund managers, all everybody across the board has been telling us that you look at fundamentals while investing, right? You look at the balance sheet, you look at the income statement, you look at the growth numbers, you look at the management commentary, you look at the projections, right? That's what people talk about when they talk about investing. But here we have a strategy that says that I'm not going to look at the fundamentals. I'm just going to pick up stocks that have done well. And with this simple nature, it has also outperformed by a wide margin. So it's a very interesting phenomena, and I think it makes one think and understand why this is happening, right?
Hi, Sonam. Thank you so much for that detailed explanation about momentum investing. Please take a quick pause. We have some updates to the audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a quick update on the IPL. Please minimize it. We want to be on the slide. All right. IPL, as you all know, many of you have played it yesterday. It's Investor Premier League, a greater opportunity to express your talent as far as your investing knowledge is concerned. Next slide, please.
Okay.
You have to jump your slides. Yeah, one more slide. Thank you. So friends, you have about 100 questions to answer. Yesterday we have exposed about 20 questions. Today we will be exposing about 15 more questions. And the person who answers maximum questions right within a shortest possible period of time will be the winner, and that would be automatically selected by the Traders Gurukul application. Next slide, please. So there are 100 questions across 20 knowledge areas, 38 easy, 34 intermediate, and 28 advanced questions. Every day before 8 p.m., the additional questions will technically go live. Next. Sounds good. So technically there are 35 questions which have been already uploaded. You guys can go ahead and answer them. Again, tomorrow, next 3 days, we will expose the remaining 65 questions. And last day, that is Sunday, we are going to declare the winner of the IPL. Next slide. Okay, people are asking what is a code for the IPL quiz. The code is always the same. Next slide. Please play with integrity, friends. Don't try to cheat. Okay. Yep. Next slide. Okay, the application will take care of everything. You don't have to worry. There is no negative marks. The application will automatically pop up the top 10 winners who will be rewarded. So the app is going to take care. We don't have any rights, any control on the app as such. Next slide. Yeah, so the winner will get the Diamond Champion of the Investival Award of 5,000. Plus, we have the remaining guys will be selected based on the scores. All of you will get Amazon coupons by email. Next slide. So for more details, log into www.tradersgurukul.com, click on championship, register there, and you will find all the questions there in the Traders Gurukul application.